Be confident, be connected, be committed. That's the heart of the mission statement for the Women's Initiative at New York Life, our employee resource group for women. And these 6 words drive all the activity for the group. Be confident, develop personally and professionally. Be connected, extend your network across the organization. Be committed, pay it forward to the community. By defining and crafting a simple yet powerful mission statement, the Women's Initiative was able to create a platform for success. Everything we do falls into one of these 3 buckets. Be confident. In the fall of 2012, the Women's Initiative hosted a session on building a personal brand statement. Although it was a 3-hour session and it gave a toolkit for developing a strong brand statement, you couldn't possibly complete the work in 3 hours. It takes time and thought and effort. So 2 of our members decided after the event that they wanted to get together. They met at lunch, and they continued to work on their brand statement. They held each other accountable. They practiced. They gave each other feedback. Soon they expanded the conversation beyond the brand statement, and they invited others to join them. This was New York Life's first peer leadership circle. And I think it's a true success story for an employee resource group. How awesome is it to have engaged members who go to an event, and then they come back and they build on it and they make it their own? So the group thought that they were on to something, and they came to see me and my co-lead, and they said, you know, we think this might be a good opportunity to offer this up to all of the Women's Initiative. And we thought it was a good idea as well. We loved the idea. But we recognized that in order to really get it right, we'd need to engage learning and development. Although the group that came together did a fantastic job on their own, in order to create a really robust platform, we needed to get some subject matter experts engaged. So we went to see our chief learning officer, and he thought this was a fantastic idea. He loved the idea of self-directed peer mentoring circles. And as we soon learned, so did Sheryl Sandberg, because the book Lean In came out a couple of months after this group had gotten together. So our CLO gave us someone from his team to work with, and that was really critical for us. We were able to keep the women who had originally formed the first circle engaged. They were involved in creating this robust program, and we had the subject matter expert to help us. And together, we were able to create a turnkey program that focused in on, we thought about things like, how do we form circles, right? This group came together on their own. Now, how are we going to get our members to come together? So we knew we needed to do some exercises for people to get to know each other. Once the circles were formed, what are they going to start working on to begin with? How are they going to make a connection? So we worked on a toolkit, a 60-page guide, and it gave them exercises on sort of self-awareness, things you could do to set personal goals, group dynamics, ideas on how to set group goals, conflict resolution. We gave them videos that they could watch as a group and then talk together about it. We have a lending library, books that they could read from there, or abstracts that they could read. And since then, the peer leadership circles have grown to be New York Life's largest mentoring program. We have hundreds of employees involved. And it's been also growing beyond the Women's Initiative, and this happened fairly early on. We had folks who had attended one of our leadership development classes, and when the class ended at the end of 9 months, some of the folks who had gone through it wanted to continue to stay connected. So then they came to us and they said, we'd like to do a peer leadership circle, and we love this idea, right? It didn't have to, we wanted it to be all around the company. It didn't have to just be limited to the Women's Initiative. And so when these groups form outside of the Women's Initiative, we give them the guidebook, we give them the framework, we tell them, we give the advice, each group has a senior advisor, recommend that. If there's activities we're doing for the PLC members, we include everyone at the company who's being active in it. So this, I think, is a really good example of a grassroots program, something that started with our members, and then we were able to engage the right people and develop a whole turnkey program. Now I'm going to flip and talk about another program that we created, and the origins of this one is slightly different. My co-lead and I, back a few years ago, I'm no longer running the Women's Initiative, but back when I was, we noticed that women in the company were really kind of struggling to find their voice. And here's a couple of examples. We had a networking event with senior leaders, and at the end of the event, one of the female senior vice presidents came up to me afterwards and she said, you know, I get really frustrated when I come to these events. I meet these women and they can't introduce themselves in a confident manner. Half the time I can't understand their name. They can't tell me concisely like where they work or what they're doing. And they lose me before we even get started. We also noticed that when we had events and we would host an outside speaker, or even if it was an internal speaker, when it came to the Q&A time, the room would be silent. And then inevitably, although the majority of the attendees were women, it'd be one of the guys in the room that would be raising his hand and asking a question. So we thought, okay, we need to think about a program to help build confidence and to help the TWI members become stronger communicators. So we set out a program that would focus in on voice, presence, and influence. We ultimately called it Speak Up, Show Up, Stand Out. And when we were in the very early stages of developing this program, our first stop again was learning and development. We knew even more so than with the peer leadership circles, in order to do this right, we really needed to have that subject matter expert. And so the CLO loved this idea even more than the PLCs, right? This was something that we thought we could really build out. And we spoke to him pretty early on in the process, so we kind of came up with a couple ideas, and then my co-lead and I went off, and we were trying to sort of develop a proposal. And we went and we met with people who were outside of New York Life, some consultants that I think would have been really effective in delivering a strong program, but they really weren't going to fit the culture. Some of the folks we met with had a theater background, and it was really hard. They gave us, they didn't have like a real strong like curriculum of how the program was going to work. It was hard for us to understand the value proposition and to actually then go back to the CLO and explain it, right? And as we're talking and we're trying to come up with this program and we're meeting with all these different people, we sort of kept coming back. We'd say, oh, this leader at New York Life is a really good communicator, or how about that class that we have in our Learning Gateway? And it took us a little time, but we realized we had all the tools at our fingertips right inside the company. So when we went back to the head of learning and development, kind of pitched this idea of, hey, let's come up with a program that taps into all of our resources. Love the idea, right? This is just, what a great use of all the tools we have available. And we were able to, we also got a person from his team to help us, and we were able to then also reach out to the Women's Initiative and formed a working committee so that our members were involved. And we were able to align it to New York Life's career model of learning and experience and relationships. So when we looked at learning, we looked at our in-person training that we have available already through our Learning Gateway. We looked at hosting sessions with people, senior leaders at the company who are strong communicators. When we looked at relationships, we framed the program so that the participants could be meeting people across New York Life. We had the participants, we have coffee chat partners. So people can get to know another participant, but not only about the person, but about the business that they're in. They get to meet senior leaders. We have experiences. People have to present what their business is. They have to shoot small videos, host an open mic night. So by able to work with our learning team, we were able to create a program that fit our culture, fit the needs for the organization, and really help to strengthen these skill sets for our members. So we're piloting this right now, and I think we're about halfway through and getting really strong feedback. So I'm just going to quickly touch on two of the other tenets for the Women's Initiative mission here: be connected and be committed. So be connected, one of the ways that we bring our members together is we host informal lunches once a month. It's in the same day, same place. You don't have to RSVP, you just show up. And one of the members finds an article that he or she wants to talk about, develops discussion questions, and then leads the conversation. So we've had everybody from our CEO pop into these, to various business leaders, to our general membership base. And it's a great opportunity for someone to, from the membership role, take on something different, right? Being able to lead a discussion. It gives them an opportunity. And it was also a grassroots program. One of our members had recommended it several years ago, so we've been doing this for a while now, and it's very popular. So for Be Committed, we look for organizations that we can give back to, where their mission aligns with the Women's Initiative and has a national footprint so that our offices around the country can also get involved. And we'll do things, for example, like mentor young women, or as people are entering the workforce, do mock interviewing. All the activities that we do really kind of align, again, to that same mission, and it helps our membership develop as well. So there's huge opportunities out there to give people something different outside their day job where they can sort of strengthen skill sets that they may not touch on in their day-to-day activities. So when I look back at what we do with the Women's Initiative, here's my 5 tips for running an ERG. So first is setting a strong mission statement. I think a pitfall for many ERGs is they have very broad mission statements, or they may have a mission statement that's a little bit more narrow in focus, but the activities that they do don't align to what they're setting out to do, or the activities on a standalone individual basis are really outstanding, but collectively, they're not building blocks towards a common goal like Larry was talking about a few minutes ago. You really want to go towards that common goal. Secondly, build flexibility. It's really important that the members have an opportunity to be involved, not just to attend events and hear a speaker, but that they're able to have a voice and can help set some of the initiatives. So what we did for the Women's Initiative is we didn't have a lot of standing committees and standing meetings. We had members who signed up to be active members. And then when we had opportunities, we'd reach out to these active members and we'd tell them they could get involved, like that communications program that I spoke about. And I think that also then helped the members feel like that we wanted to hear from them. So then we started to get more sort of ideas generated from the membership base. Third, which I think is very critical, is engaging the subject matter experts. So I gave a couple of examples with our learning team. I'll just quickly give another example. We're working on our employee resource groups to help us with recruiting. So we're working with talent acquisition. Again, I think the ERGs are a fantastic place for employees to step outside their day job and get stretch assignments. But sometimes those assignments might not be where they have the experience and the expertise. And by partnering, what you're able to do is develop a really robust program, and you're also able to give the member a development opportunity. Seek input. So as we are developing programs that are much more, bigger and more strategic in nature, we reach out to our business leaders, our senior leaders. We want to make sure that what we're doing aligns with the direction of the company, fits the business need. And you want to listen to that feedback. So for example, when we were creating the peer leadership circles, we talked to a number of senior folks around the company, and we had originally intended to target a level right below our officers. And everyone kept saying, why are you limiting this? You should open it up to anyone who wants to participate, and you'll figure out how to make it work. And they were right, and that's ultimately what we did. So it's not only seeking the input, it's also listening to the feedback that you get. And then finally, reach allies. It's very important that the ERGs build allies and advocates and that they reach beyond their natural membership base. Change isn't going to happen unless we're inclusive. And so for the Women's Initiative, we needed to reach out to men. So we talked to men, invited them to join the group. And often we heard, oh, I didn't know I wanted to come. I didn't know I could participate, right? So it's inviting people in and helping them understand the importance of the participation. So in closing, I would just say that if you are not already engaged with your Office of Diversity and Inclusion and your employee resource groups, it's really a fantastic opportunity to partner and to really build some strong development programs for your ERGs. Thank you.